The Kevin Hart Roast was unfunny and painful to watch.
He got into a fist fight on a private plane. Proof that no matter how much money black people have, they're still just gonna act like ninjas.
Those jokes, especially from Tony Hinchcliffe, were lame, unfunny, and just edgy for shock value's sake.
It's just everything we know, that they're racist, that they're bigots, that they're sexist, you know, that they think they're like invincible.
Which is why it's so refreshing to see somebody already established in that industry, like Chelsea Handler, call out how lame, forced, and weird the energy and the jokes around that roast really were.
Those aren't jokes. That's not clever writing. And I knew they would be lazy. Knew enough about like Tony Hinchcliffe and Shane. And so based on that, I was like, oh, these guys are pretty bad.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
I don't have a lot of, I'm 51. So like, I'm pretty secure with who I am.
Yeah.
I don't care if these guys say that I'm a whore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm doing exactly what they're doing, except I'm a woman and I'm allowed to.
And that's real.
Yeah, I'm rich, I'm famous, and I'm hot. So I'm fucking people.
You're
It's like,
supposed to.
that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna continue to keep doing that as long as, you know, I remain as fuckable as I am. So I don't really see the problem.
Yeah, no, and I think a lot of other women should feel the same way out there, especially women that I run into.
Yeah, whether you're famous, whether you're famous or rich, those don't apply. But like the idea that, like, what were they gonna say about me? They couldn't say anything other than that I'm a whore or my age. I think that was the other thing that they went in. And you're like, well, okay.
That's also because none of those guys are funny. None of those guys are really creative. This is the laziest era and version of comedy ever, where these guys get paid more from their podcast sitting around talking than they do actually telling real jokes and making people laugh. And for all the jokes for the white guys, it just seems like racism and sexism. Personally, for me, my GOAT comedy-wise is Eddie Murphy. I know some people say Richard Pryor, some people say Martin. I don't think any millennial looks at Kevin Hart as a GOAT of comedy. Maybe the younger people do. But those guys, when they told jokes, when they did stand-up, it was real jokes, real creativity, real stories. There was setup, there was a building of the story, and then the punchline at the end, which had people dying laughing. You don't get that from these comedians today, especially not the Joe Rogansphere comedians.
What's the most conservative thing about you?
I hate certain minorities.
Whoa,
What's your top 3 minorities that you hate?
Starting with number 3.
Sri Lankans.
We were really concerned you might just drop the N-word right from the top there. Right from the number 3 position.
And even them teasing the N-word, like, shut the fuck up.
Number 2, least favorite group of immigrants to Hans Kemp.
Native Americans.
There's 1 to go, everybody. The number 1 least favorite minority group, according to Hans Kim, is
The blacks.
And you're like, well, okay, those aren't jokes. That's not clever writing. And I knew they would be lazy because they do that for a living. And I knew enough about like Tony Hinchcliffe and Shane and their backgrounds. I had ex-girlfriends blowing up my DMs that had dated Shane and were telling me stuff about him. So based on that, I was like, oh, these guys are pretty bad.
So you had something on him that you was going, you could have, tell us now. What shit, Shane?
It's just everything we know, that they're racist, that they're bigots, that they're sexist, you know, that they think they're like invincible.
It sounded like she described every one of those guys, those podcasters, air quote, comedians in the Joe Rogan sphere, all of them. They think they're invincible. They think they are way more important than they are. They think they're richer and funnier than everybody else. And they think they're unstoppable because they have Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan ain't even as popular as he used to be.
That they've been canceled for being like, you know, Shane got fired from SNL, but then was on SNL years later. So he got fired. So what happened in between those two events? So he believes, this is per one of his exes, that he's invincible. He's like, doesn't matter. I can say anything I want.
Yeah. Do you think that now a lot of like white comics, they feel as though that they can say something racist and it's gonna further their career?
Oh yeah, they're gonna get in with that group of like Roganites and that Austin group of Joe Rogan and all of those guys. And I just, you know, like, that's their MO. Even some girl comics have started to do it, to be like in with that group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, they say this racist. Yeah, because I'm starting to feel that. I'm starting to feel like it's this thing that a lot of white comics are doing it.
They're gravitating to the MAGA crowd, to the racists. They've been doing that, and they got to blow up through Joe Rogan, through being on his podcast. So any of those unfunny, uncreative ass comedians that would go on there would all of a sudden get a built-in audience. And that whole audience, the Joe Rogansphere, the Austin audience, they're all MAGA.
It's this thing that a lot of white comics are doing, and there's this group of them that's like they say in things, and people, they get famous, and then people get on their ass, but then there's another group going, hey, well, you're cool with us for saying what you say.
Yeah.
Now they become super rich and famous, and they sell out all over. And it's like, I don't think anybody should be paying attention to that, because, you know, it's not happening like that on the other end. But they're becoming famous over this shit. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's crazy. So with this whole, so did you feel, I mean, did you like the shit they were saying up there though? Like,
No, I mean, it was ick. It was gross. I don't find those jokes to be funny. Jokes about lynching Black people, or like lynching is not a joke. That's worse than rape. Like, you're not joking about rape, are you? Are you saying, I'm going to go rape you? You know, you can't do that, but you can say lynching? Like, I find that to be, I don't know, you know, people are like, it's a roast, you go for it. I'm like, you can go for it without being gross.
On top of that, Tony Hinchcliffe's main joke was about George Floyd, a Black U.S. citizen that died at the hands of the police. He wasn't in the political sphere. He wasn't a famous person. He wasn't in a public spotlight. He was a man that got killed at the hands of the police. And these people are still joking about 5-6 years later.
You've done good, though, Kevin. The Black community is so proud of you right now. George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe.
Like, I find that to be gross. I found them making fun of Cheryl Underwood's like dead husband who committed suicide. Like,
a skin color.
you know, she's fine with that. If she says she's fine with that, she's fine with that. I wasn't fine with that. I thought that was disgusting too. Wow. But there was so much disgustingness that I knew it was going to be such a like gross vibe that I would be able to elevate it, no problem. Yeah. And that's what I went to do. I was like, all right, well, I'll pick it up because they're going to try and bring it down. Yeah. And Kevin didn't deserve that. He deserved like an elevated roast.
That's the thing that gets me the most. Kevin Hart is one of the most powerful comedians in the world, one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. This man could 100% dictate who would be performing at his roast and the guardrails for it. I guarantee you, for people that do roast, there are guardrails for some things that they don't want to be said. You're not going to tell me that out of all the Black comedians in the world, all the famous people in the world, that Tony Hinchcliffe made the cut and Kevin Hart was okay with those jokes, even though he was laughing like a goofball, which makes everything so much more disappointing.
God bless you, Kevin. God bless this room.
So let me ask you this. When you see other Black people laughing at that, does it make you go, all right, whatever? Or do you think to yourself, what the fuck are they laughing at that for?
I mean, I'm not here to tell Black people what's funny about Black jokes.
Who was laughing at that? The people in the room? Nobody online was happy with anything that was said as far as the Black community goes. I wish he would have specified that question a little bit more. Maybe he met Kevin Hart because Kevin Hart was up there laughing.
Like, no, I'm not here in the world to do that. Like, I know enough to just, that's my opinion. I don't like that. I also don't like the N-word, but I have plenty of Black friends who toss that around all the time. It's not my place to say, oh, that word makes me feel uncomfortable. Right. You know, Black people are allowed to do whatever they want. If Kevin thinks that's funny, he thinks that's funny. I don't think it's funny.
I liked Chelsea Handler before, but now I love her. I mean, she spit nothing but facts. My homegirl's been in comedy for 17 years. She even was hired to write jokes for the Tom Brady roast. I went to LA to watch her do roast battles. I told her I didn't want to come back because roast battles are literally no holds barred jokes. But then I found out even roast battles have rules and comics know what's off limits before the battle. So anyone telling you that, oh, it's comedy, you can say whatever, is lying. That's not how it has ever worked, which was the defense for a lot of what people didn't like about the roast.
All right, I'm gonna say this, right? You know, I ended up catching up and watching Kevin Hart Roast. Shout out to Naeem Lynn, shout out to Cheryl Underwood, shout out to Chelsea Handler, Kat, Kev, you know. It was some funny people on there, and people gotta know roasting it is what it is, and they could go below the belt. What I am annoyed by, and I'm just keeping it 100, y'all. Just keeping it 100. And I wonder how I would have reacted if I was there. I couldn't attend because I've been in upstate New York shooting a movie. I don't understand. Like, it's one thing to roast the people that's there. It's one thing to roast the people that may be in the audience there. Roasting somebody that, number one, is dead, number two, that's not there, number three, that the implications of why you should joke about that. Like Tony Hinchcliffe joke about George Floyd didn't make sense to me. It was no reason to bring George Floyd into this. You know, it just was disgusting. And I do feel a certain way that the audience was okay booing Draymond Green every time his name was mentioned, or just, you know, so y'all could boo. We know people was booing in there, but you don't boo Tony Hinchcliffe right after that. I'm starting to understand, and I get it, man, and I'm okay with not being a part of a lot of this cliquey bull that's in comedy or in our business that some of y'all may think I'm a part of, but I'm not. I 100% would have booed that mother and probably walked out. That's all I'm saying. Come on, y'all. Like, I do think times we are, like, too sensitive about certain things. Why we just can't agree that bringing up George Floyd and the way he did it was just up and not funny and not needed.
Oh, it's a roast battle. You guys are being too sensitive. All roast battles are like this. It's not. They're not. Even Bobby Altoff and Suki Yana, of all people, had a lot to say about that roast.
I went to the roast and I was in shock because I was like looking around like there's no way.
The stuff that they said was pathetic. It wasn't funny.
Yeah, it's not funny at all.
We're watching in today's time them laugh at a death.
And Kevin Hart was sitting up there like a goofball, laughing like this, all his teeth showing, like that was actually a funny joke.
What's funny about George Floyd dying because police brutality? What's funny?
I always think it's good when people call out their own communities for being racist because it really just hits different. Chelsea Handler did exactly that. I think the biggest disappointment out of this whole thing, because racists are gonna be racist, but it's that Kevin Hart, again, one of the most powerful black people in Hollywood, would let this happen at an event that's really meant to celebrate him. You know, roasts are roasts, but there's still a celebration of somebody important enough to be up there. It was all just really disgusting. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting and thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.